Bruce Friedman of Adult Site Broker, and welcome to Adult Site Broker Talk, where every week we interview one of the movers and shakers of the adult industry, and we discuss what's going on in our business. Plus, we give you a tip on buying and selling websites. This week, we'll be talking to Mark Prince of Too Much. Adult Site Broker is proud to announce Adult Site Broker Cash, the first affiliate program for an adult website brokerage. With Adult Site Broker Cash, you'll have the chance to earn as much as 20% of our broker commission, referring sellers and buyers to us at Adult Site Broker. Check our website at adultsitebroker.com for more details. First of all, today, let's cover some of the news going on in our industry. A panel of the U.S. Third Circuit Court of Appeals has given the Free Speech Coalition and the other plaintiffs a victory in a 2257 case recently. Here are the most important facts about the ruling. Section 2257 and 2257A of the U.S. Criminal Code were ruled unconstitutional under both the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment, but the law was not struck down in its entirety for all producers. The FBI can no longer demand access to your records for random inspections without a search warrant. You're now less likely to be charged with a crime under 2257 and even less likely to be successfully prosecuted. Both sides of the lawsuit have 45 days to file a petition for a rehearing, so this fight isn't over. And most importantly, you should continue all record-keeping requirements under 2257 as currently written. The overall effect of this ruling, once again, on most adult businesses is that the risk of prosecution for any adult company is now significantly reduced, and the risk of a successful prosecution even more so. But you'll have to continue to maintain 2257 records for now. However, you won't be subject to warrantless searches. Pineapple Support will host a free online workshop centered on suicide prevention training to help adult industry professionals better understand the mental health issues that lead to suicide, including how to identify potential signs and the steps that can be taken to prevent suicide. The presentation is designed to help those in the adult industry provide direct support to those struggling, as well as showcase resources and tools for suicide prevention and provide tools and strategies for mental health challenges individuals might be facing personally. The Sex Positive Seminar is scheduled for this Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific Time in the U.S., but may go longer and will be led by certified crisis counselor Amanda T.R. Clemens. Clemens said, "This webinar will be a user-friendly, sex-informed approach to suicide prevention and crisis support that's meant to be specifically performed by adult film industry people for adult film industry people who may be struggling with suicide or other mental health-related issues. The more honest discussions we can have about mental health in adult, the less stigma those want to come forward and face, and the more who can be saved." British tabloid The Daily Mail has published a report implying a direct connection between new onset guidelines by the porn industry and the current Ron Jeremy sexual abuse trial in Los Angeles, a connection that is not supported by any facts. The article relies mainly on a single interview with performer and producer Kieran Lee, who spoke to XBiz to clarify he had been misquoted by the Daily Mail journalist Alex Diaz. Lee told XBiz he had requested the removal of quotes misattributed to him regarding Brazzers. The original Daily Mail article was rife with factual mistakes and serious misrepresentations and implications about the adult industry in general, its connection to the criminal proceedings against Jeremy, and the studio Brazzers in particular. Now let's feature our property of the week that's for sale at Adult Site Broker. We're proud to offer for sale porn.co, an amazing adult domain name. This domain can be used for just about any purpose, including a pay site or a tube site. Porn.co, or rather porn.com, sold for $9.5 million, and the .co extension is rapidly gaining in value. So besides being able to make money on this domain now, you can also count on it appreciating in value. This amazing domain has been reduced in price to only $199,000. Now time for this week's interview. My guest today on Adult Site Broker Talk is Mark Pritz, owner of TooMuch.net. Mark, thanks for being with us today on Adult Site Broker Talk.
Thank you for having me, Bruce.
My pleasure. Now, TooMuch.net is a company that produces live video chat software and has been doing that for 20 years. That's a darn long time. They operated Livecam Network for a long time. That's probably where you know them from best. And their latest project is Miracam, which Mark will tell us about in a little bit here. Mark, what happened to Livecam Network?
Bit of a long story, but I won't bore you too much with that. It was a pretty well. It was a product that ran its course. It was originally it started off way back in the late 90s, early 2000s as using a format called JPEG Push, which was ridiculous by today's standards, and it evolved into Windows Media, and that worked well for a long time, and then we replaced it with Adobe Flash, and we kind of got too stuck on Adobe Flash. We built around it and around it and around it, and it worked really well until Adobe announced that they would not be supporting Flash anymore. Yes. And we knew before that was going to happen. Apple was not supporting Flash, and the technology was getting kind of old. So we got to a point where we looked at it and said, "This is going to be way too expensive to evolve this product into where it needs to be." So we retired it. We sunsetted it, as some people say, several years ago.
Okay.
And that was that.
So what is Miracam, and why should someone buy it?
So Miracam is a new video chat platform. It lets anyone broadcast themselves through their own website. It can be for solo models. It can be used for sites that want to employ models. It uses the latest technology, which is known as WebRTC, for real-time communication. When models are broadcasting, regardless of where they are or where their customers are in the world, the video is instantaneous. At worst case scenario, it's about a 1 second with 1 second latency. So it's really, really, really fast.
Wow.
It does a lot of things like pay per minute chat, tipping, subscription-based chats for models that have membership sites, and it works with their own payment processor or ours. So we have an agreement with net billing. So if they don't have payment processing already, we'll connect it for them through net billing. Otherwise, they can use their own payment processor.
Okay. All right. How's it going so far?
Pretty good. It's taken a long time to write, and we finally finished it this year. Well, it's been finished maybe since February, but we've been debugging and tweaking and making modifications since then. So now we're finally ready to give it a marketing push that it deserves.
Okay. All right. Now, some of the girls who worked with you in your studio were there for a really long time. Why do you think they stayed so long with you guys?
It was family. I like family, I guess I should say. We had, when we started our studios, this is a long time ago, but when we started our studios, we had them in lofts. And the lofts were in Old Montreal, so they were like brick walls on one side and rock walls on the other side, and the high beam ceilings and wood floors and all that kind of beautiful loft style stuff. And models really liked it. We hung out a lot, and we didn't treat them. We didn't say get on camera and flash yourself. It was more like, here's how the business works. Here's what we really need. Do you want to learn more about how the business works? Let's go to trade shows. So we involved all of them in just about all aspects of the business, and we weren't afraid at all to answer questions about the software or technology or things like that. And their involvement in other parts of the business, even in marketing, really helped people to focus on or pay attention, let's say, to the whole business side instead of just what they were doing. And I think that they like that a lot.
Oh, sure. Now, you still have studios?
Nope. Unfortunately, we sold them off several years ago, and now for myself anyway, and my programmers, we all work from home. We work from home since before the COVID virus, but now I kind of miss it. We had a big place and lots of people, and especially lots of naked girls running around and stuff like that. But now, but I've always been more comfortable behind the keyboard anyway. Mm-hmm. So now I'm at home, and we're all working virtually, and that's that.
How is that? I mean, how's that working out? Tell me about the differences. Besides all the naked girls running around, or not running around, but how's it different? And what are the pros and cons of everybody work from home as opposed to the studio?
Well, I think our timing was right. When we were running our studios, girls models had heard about webcamming and stuff like that, and they were completely okay doing adult content, but they didn't want to at home, maybe because some of the younger girls are living with their parents. They're like 18, 19, 20, but hadn't moved out,
could be a problem.
or they just weren't set up or didn't have fast computers or fast internet or anything like that.
Sure.
So they wanted to work from the studio. The studio itself was great because it let me control the environment and made sure we made it look as good as possible and sound as good as possible. We spent a lot of money on cameras and fast computers and good mics and removing anything that can cause echo and noise in the room. So that made our product look great. On the negative side, we had high rent to pay. We had to deal with complaining neighbors. We had high insurance rates.
Complaining neighbors, when they stopped in, they didn't like seeing a bunch of naked women running around? Or?
Yeah, well, we had one of our neighbors upstairs from us. We were in a commercial loft, but upstairs was residential lofts, and so one of them was also a cam model, and she had no problem with it. But one of our other neighbors would complain about the late night noise. So. But we had like all kinds of things going on. So the girls were chatting, and we had music, and we were just like there until 3 a.m. sometimes working, right? So we were probably not the quietest neighbor.
Probably not the best neighbors.
No. So versus the difference between working from home, now it's pretty different. I think all models prefer to work from home. They're more comfortable. They already have fast computers and mobile devices and fast internet. And also the culture has changed. There's more. Back then, being a cam model was something that was, not taboo, but let's say they didn't want to brag to their friends about. But now I think it's changed a lot. Now models are proud to be cam models, and they're okay telling their friends and family this is what they do, because it's let's be adult about this. It's sexual fantasy fulfillment. It's completely safe. They're doing what they want to do. The customers are happy, and they're making a lot of money doing it, right? So I think the culture has shifted also.
And obviously, since you started 20 years ago, the technology is just, the change has been amazing.
Yeah. Definitely. Our original video chat was the pixel size was 320 pixels wide by 240 pixels high. Teeny tiny little nothing. But back then that was like, wow, live video on the internet. That's insane. That's
You were one of the pioneers of that, right?
Well. I wouldn't say that. I mean, we were one of the first ones doing it, but not the first one. I think iFriends was the first one, and I know Python was doing live video chat before us, and I'm sure there was a few other companies.
Peak
shows, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
former client, so I know them.
Yeah.
So talk about what's changed in those 20 years, Mark. Talk about where you were when you first started the business, and now where the live cam industry is, because it was really embryonic back then. Now it's just a huge multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mm-hmm. the Well, let's see. What's changed as far as technology is a lot. Obviously, it's gone from tiny video at maybe 10 frames a second to 4K video at 60 frames a second. Broadcasting at that resolution and frame rate is hard still because it requires considerable resources, but it's there, right? It exists. That would be probably the biggest change in the technology, is just the video format itself. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same, except for mobile support, which, of course, that has evolved a lot in the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else has changed? You mean not just in technology, but in the business in general?
Business, sure.
Hard to say, because on my side, the business has been pretty much the same. There's other non-adult sectors are interested in it. So right now we're doing we do a lot of custom programming for video chat systems. So besides adults, there's consulting companies that are using our software, and there's psychics that are using our software, right? And if you think about psychic, for example, that's really the same thing exactly as adult. Someone is in front of the camera telling you, kind of what you want to hear, and then charging you per minute to make you feel better, right?
Exactly.
It's the same. It's exactly the same. Just we take out all the adult keywords and replace them with psychic keywords, and there you go.
It reminds me of a date I had with a woman who was going to the Psychic Institute. This is a true story. And we first sat down for dinner, and I looked at her in the eyes, and I said, "So, tell me about me."
Ha.
Oh, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. God, that had to have been 40 years ago.
What did she say?
I don't even remember, to be honest. Well, you know what? She did tell me about me, and God, she was pretty close to right. So what about in the live cam industry, though? I mean, you've seen it go from being very small to today being a multi-billion-dollar industry.
It's hard to answer that question because, well, firstly, yeah, the industry has exploded, right? Obviously,
Sure.
but I'm not actually on that side of things. So we do because most of my clients these days, I have a lot of clients, but they're small clients. They're not the big super clients like MFC and Chatterbait and companies like that. Those big companies are doing their own thing, and for sure they're in the StreamMates. I forgot about them. So some of those companies are doing hundreds of millions of dollars in sales every a year, if not more. So it's impressive what they've accomplished, and it's impressive that of the market that they've captured.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows their name. Everyone trusts them. They're rock solid companies and all that good stuff. And it's very impressive.
Absolutely. So this whole COVID-19 thing, I can't have an interview without asking about that. Mm-hmm. How has that affected your business and your life?
Business-wise, it's terrible to say this, but business is really increased since the pandemic happened.
Not terrible to say that at all, Mark.
Well, it sounds. I guess I feel guilty saying that. I don't know a better way to describe it. Everyone is stuck at home. And everyone either wants entertainment, they're looking for someone to talk to, or they want to see some live adult stuff, or they are at home and looking to make money because they've temporarily lost their jobs.
Yeah. Right.
So since this started happening, business is way up. I'm getting emails, I'm getting more phone calls than ever before. Everyone wants something custom, so we're charging. We're making our money on the custom solutions now. Personally, I'm extremely lucky that it hasn't affected me that much since I've been working at home for the past few years, and so have my team. When the lockdowns happen, it's like, okay, doesn't affect us? No.
Yeah.
And I'm communicating with them every day.
Sure.
So we talk. We're all friends too. So are you practicing social distancing? Is everyone in your family okay? Do you know anyone who's sick? We're all checking up on each other.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it hasn't affected me personally. The only thing I really miss is I love going to the movies, like not just watching movies on TV, but going to the theaters, right?
Yeah,
I would go, Tracy and I, we would go at least, once a month, if not twice a month to see whatever. And so we can't get to do that. And we haven't been to restaurants and any bars or pubs for a long time. So I'm missing that part.
Yeah.
But everything else.
I think you and a lot of people actually, and
sure.
like you, Mark, my life hasn't changed a heck of a lot. I work at home, and also like you, business is up. I think people are probably had time to sit there and go, I think I am going to sell that website. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's the impact it's had. So what else are you working on right now? What kind of projects are hot for you?
That's it. We're just doing except for some of the custom jobs that we're doing, which I can't. We have NDAs with each client, so I can't really talk about that. But no, that's about it. I have some different contracts, different clients that we have contracts with that we're working for. Sorry for my squeaky chair there. I guess it's ruining your podcast. That's about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So what is the coolest thing you've got in your home office? You got like a moose on the wall or something? I mean, what's in your home office that's really cool?
Well, okay. So I bought a Dell 49-inch ultra wide monitor.
Whoa.
I bought this last year, and I think is when people see this, they freak out because it looks like amazing. I'm looking right at it, and I still love this thing. I have a 1980s era TRS-80 Model 1 and a TRS-80 Model 4, and they both still work. One of them is connected to the internet. And let that settle in for a few minutes. A 1980s computer is actually online. Probably not cool to everyone listening, but that's what I think is cool.
To a tech geek, of course it is. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm
sure
so lame.
I'm sure there's some tech geeks out there listening. They're going, "Whoa."
Yeah. It's a good thing I'm in a long-term relationship. If I met any pretty girls and said, "Hey, I've got a TRS-80 on my shelf,"
baby, come on over and see my TRS-80.
Yeah, I don't think it would fly.
That's probably even better than etchings. Okay,
etchings.
So I never did figure out what come over and see my etchings means.
You've got etchings?
Well, no, but that used to be a pickup line. Come on over and see my etchings, baby.
Oh, okay. I used to say I have a rare barbed wire collection. No, okay, it didn't work. I'm an accomplished triangle player.
Oh,
no.
Wow.
Yeah, no, didn't work.
Oh.
One day I'll learn how to pick up chicks.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the rest was history.
Oops, sorry, I should say women. PC. Oh boy, I'm in trouble.
Man, go for it. It's all right. I'm old too, so it's okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So, what's the best and worst experience you've had over the past year? Should I go on to the next question?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Can't think of anything. Okay.
No, it's been very stable and steady, and I cannot think of a single thing. No spike or valley or anything there.
Okay. So, What do you think the best innovation has been in the last year?
I was thinking that 3D video is a bit further than a year from now. I think it's maybe 2 years it's been around or something like that. I was sure 3D video was going to take off, and it seems to have fizzled. Everyone, like the company Cam4, 2 years ago, I think, was broadcasting 3D video, and they had I tried it and it worked. It was okay. It didn't work very well, but it was pretty good just the same. But now I don't hear about that at all anymore, which I'm kind of surprised.
Okay. Yeah, you hear more about VR, I think.
Yeah. So because there was companies making 3D cameras, and you could stream left and right video and watch it with either your phone and Google Cardboard or the Samsung VR, one of those things. So it was true 3D because it was discrete left and right video for your left and right eye. And I thought, wow, this is great. And then nothing
to go along with VR. I didn't even hear about that.
Yep.
Okay, so give me a moment. You've been to a lot of trade shows like I have. Give me what you're over the years. Tell me one that's either your favorite or was weird or whatever. Besides running into me, of course.
Because it's running into you. Well, that's you're limiting my choices there, Bruce.
Yeah, I know.
I would say probably my favorite trade show of all time was Internext in Miami.
Boy, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
That a lot. That was a great show.
It was really good. It's for those who'd never been there. The Internext would take over this huge hotel. I don't know how many rooms, but it was a lot. And I just remember like one night of partying. So it's a bit of a blur now, but there was a party at the Mansion Miami, which I loved, and there was a crazy party that a company called Come on Her Face threw, and it was at a bar. Yeah, I know. And it was so it was at a bar, and they were actually doing it live and things like that. And that was it was kind of scary because it was so crowded, this place. It was ridiculous. There was another party that had, I don't know what the exact word is, but people would hang from their backs, like it was like a hook that would pierce their back, and they would be hanging from this. And it was I took pictures. It was oh wow, I forget the name of the bar. So we did that crazy party, and then another crazy party, and then it was 5 a.m. and we're walking around, and there's one of the models that we brought was in a hot tub full of guys. At 5 a.m. and just like, okay.
There you go.
Just like, oh, there's people drinking at the pool. Let's go there. Phew, fantastic, and chill out. So yeah, that was Internext.
That was the always enjoyed that show. And yeah, by the way, the one thing about that show I recall was my wife. Of course, she's from Thailand, and her going to that show and going, "It's too hot here." Anyway.
No, not me. I loved it. It's the temperature was something like it was really hot. It was like 80, 90 degrees or something like that during the day, but that was fine.
Yeah, it was really humid. So what do you like to do to relax?
I play guitar now. I started playing. I just picked it up about 4 years ago, something like that. So when I'm not working, I'm learning guitar and trying to play my favorite songs, or just listening to music, or swimming, or biking. I'm doing a lot of biking now, so I feel better. I don't get to do it in the winter at all. So in the summer is my time to exercise as much as possible, so I don't get so fat in the winter anymore.
Easy to do there with the snow.
Yeah, I know. When it's cold here, I just don't want to go out. I hibernate for the winter. Pretty much. I don't think it's even an exaggeration.
That sounded like stereo there, man. So do your neighbors, are they aware of the business you're in?
Yeah. We moved into this, it's a new development about 5-6 years ago, and we're friends with easily 8 or 9 of our neighbors, and they all know. And they're all cool with it. And actually, my next door neighbor's daughter works for MindGeek. And someone down the street also works for She told me the name and I forgot it now. It's I think it's a new adult company and I forget the name, but yeah, so we're not the only adults here.
Canadians are so cool, man, especially Montrealers. I love that city, and I always enjoy coming out there for Michelle's show.
Yeah, I think that also helped. So the culture here, people don't care if you're doing adult stuff, like if you're a dancer or a cam model. And when before I opened my office, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get shut down by anything. So I actually went to the police and I said, no, so I went to a lawyer. Excuse me, and he said, go and talk to the morality squad at the police department, right? And so I went there and I made an appointment and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. And I said, first, I want to tell you what I want to do. Can I be arrested just for telling you my idea? And he laughed and said, no. I said, okay. So what I want to do is I want to have an office space where I've got programmers in the front and naked girls in the back, and they're on camera, and we're broadcasting live sex shows over the internet. Is that okay? And he was a little bit quiet for a second, and then he called in someone else, and he explained it again, and they both kind of laughed, and they said, no, it's not. He basically said, if the tenants don't like it, you could have problems, and if the building owner, who we lease it from, has a problem with it, then maybe you've got problems there. But police-wise, no, there's no problem.
They probably said, as long as you invite us over occasionally to see the naked girls.
As a matter of fact, we had a party a few years later, and I did invite them. I invited my lawyer and who knew the people at the morality squad. So we had 4 different cops there, and they were there just in suits. They weren't there to be cops. They just wanted to. They were there to have a drink, right? But yeah, so it was the Montreal was cooler than I thought when it came to this. The police were okay with it. The lawyers were okay with it. My landlord was fine with it. I told him the same thing. I said, this is what we want to do. We're going to pay the rent and all that stuff. But here's what we're doing. Is that okay? And he goes, fuck yeah. So okay. He said, just don't upset the neighbors.
Invite me over. As long as you invite me over. Yeah. That's funny. Well, like I said, one of my favorite places, and one of the reasons is it's just way cool. Much cooler than the prudish United States of America, where I'm from.
Yeah. Are there different states that have different levels of acceptance when it comes to this? Like California has to be the coolest, but
yeah, California, New York are the coolest. Usually, the coolest states are going to be on the coast. And the more you get to the center or the south of the country, the biggest prudes are residing. And all you got to do is look at the electoral map, and that's usually you can usually see it. The red is usually the prudes.
Do you think they're real prudes or fake prudes?
Fake prudes, absolutely fake prudes.
Fake prudes.
Well, how many senators have gotten arrested in vice stings and things like that? Come on.
I read somewhere, I don't know who did the study, but apparently most of the craziest adult searches, for the craziest words you can think of, come from the red states.
Of course.
I would love to see that actual data, though. That would be fun. That would be interesting.
Great consumers from the red states. Yeah. Well, hey, Mark, I'd really like to thank you for being our guest today on Adult Site Broker Talk, and I hope we'll get a chance to do this again really soon.
Thank you, Bruce, for having me, and good to talk to you. And I hope to see you again, hopefully at the next Quebec Expo. That was always a fun show too, and that's usually where I saw you. So maybe, I guess not this summer, but hopefully next summer.
I hope so too, Mark. Take care.
Take care.
My broker tip today is part 2 of what to do to make your site more valuable for when you decide to sell it later. Keep your site design up to date. Do a redesign from time to time. People are going to tend to think your site is the same as ever and click out of it without even looking if something doesn't change. So keep it fresh and up to date. Times change, so should your website. Look at what your competitors are doing and see what it is you really like. Emulate success. If you know a site to be particularly successful, look at what it is they're doing and do some of the same things. I'm not saying copy it. I'm just suggesting you improve your site by looking around a bit. You've got to keep up with the times or you're going to end up being left behind. Also, keep an eye on your competition and make sure you're offering everything on your site that they are, or more. Don't just look at their design, but make sure your offers are good and you're competitive. The same goes for your content. Do you ever wonder why one site does really well and the others don't? Check out the competition's content. What are they doing that you're not doing? Be willing to make changes. People can't understand why they're losing sales to a competitor, yet the competitor is clearly doing everything better. Emulate success. Make sure everything on your website works well. Make sure all your links work properly. Click them on a regular basis. If things don't work, you'll lose customers. People are not patient these days. People's attention spans are like that of a gnat. They click out immediately and go on to the next result in Google if they don't find what they're looking for. If the site is hard to navigate or if things don't work. Check all your internal scripts and plugins and make sure they're all updated regularly as well. We'll talk about this subject more next week. And next week we'll be talking to Colin Roundtree of Wasteland. And that's it for this week's Adult Site Broker Talk. I'd once again like to thank my guest, Mark Prince. Talk to you again next week on Adult Site Broker Talk. I'm Bruce Friedman.